Hey everybody, Josh Paul here from Pipeline Ops. I wanted to bring you this conversation to talk about payments and payment gateways, the payment user experience. So I pulled in my friend Michael Hunter of a great company called Spiffy. We're going to talk about that later, but Michael, welcome to this discussion.
Thanks for having me. Excited to chat with you.
So most of my audience is HubSpot users. Some are brand new. Some have been HubSpot users for 10, 11 years, like I have. And we have everything from B2B companies to solopreneurs to small businesses to e-commerce. It used to not be this way, but the ability to take payments penetrates every single one of those types of companies. Can you talk to us a little bit about where you're coming from in your view, because you're a veteran to the online payment world, where you're coming from and what you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to give you a little bit of background on me, I started my marketing agency a little over a decade ago, and we worked with a lot of authors, speakers, coaches, consultants, personal brands, all the way from people who are just getting started, publishing their first blog, all the way up to household names and industry icons. My business partner, Jeremy, and I ran Brendan Burchard's, all of his marketing and promotions and filled all of his live events, did all of his product launches for 2 full years. And so we were at that level for several years. And we used all of the tools out there that people use to run their business, the Kajabis, the ClickFunnels, the Infusionsofts of the world, the tools that have payments that are kind of built into those tools, and realized that all of those tools, payments was like the afterthought, like the tool was really built to do one thing, and then it kind of sort of also did payments, and nobody was focusing on really innovating in the checkout space. There's lots of tools out there that do payments and they do like simple checkouts, but nobody was really bringing like Amazon best practices to small business owners or Amazon best practices to mommy bloggers or non-technical people. You still had to do these crazy technical workarounds just to do a one-click upsell. And so that's kind of where we saw a huge opportunity in the marketplace. We saw Stripe emerging that made getting a merchant account or a gateway very easy. And they have some very simple ways of taking payments through your website. But again, when it comes to payment plans and upsells and offer bumps and sending your sales data back to HubSpot and triggering workflows and triggering tasks and like the whole like purchase automations, like that's the hub of your business, is taking payments online. And again, working with people that were just getting started all the way up to really big 8-figure businesses. We just were frustrated with all the other solutions out there, couldn't find the one that worked for us. And so we just decided to saddle up and build it ourselves. And so, 3 years later, we've built a really, really awesome product that I know that we'll talk a little bit more about later, but we just rolled out our HubSpot integration and do a lot of those things that I just mentioned.
It does get complicated pretty quickly. It's not as simple as putting up a single form and accepting a payment. You can do that, and I like the way that your integration does that. But when you talk about upsells and order bumps and payment plans, it gets complicated, but that gives businesses a tremendous amount of flexibility to offer different types of products, especially digital products, to their audiences.
Absolutely. And a lot of those things like payment plans, being able to offer that to your customers can drastically increase conversions. And that's one thing that we're really focused on too, is, there's a huge trend, and it's been trending for several years, but more and every single year that goes by, more online commerce is done via mobile devices. And we're actually the first mobile first platform ever to be created from the back end all the way to the front end. So a lot of other tools, like even the Shopifys of the world, they have mobile optimized themes, but their backend architecture was built 5, 10, 15 years ago. Obviously not Shopify specifically 15 years ago, but a lot of other tools, the backend architecture that they're working with really isn't designed for this modern world. So we're very blessed and lucky, I guess, to say that, we're able to build on the latest cutting technology and just build everything optimized for mobile devices and for the future.
So how else before we get into the platform, how else have consumers, even B2B buyers, how have their expectations changed in the past 5 years, 2 years, for what a purchase experience, an online purchase experience should be like, and what's driving that?
It's such a great question. I love that question. A lot of times as small business owners, we tend to forget that our competition aren't just people in our industry. They're not just, the other people are selling products that are similar or identical to ours. Our our competition is for attention. And as a small business, specifically to your checkout experience, you're competing with the Nordstroms of the world, the Home Depots of the world, the Amazons of the world. Like, consumers are used to a flawless checkout experience. And if you have anything but a flawless checkout experience, you are absolutely 100% losing sales, and there's money slipping through the cracks. And so when it comes to the consumer's expectations, you need to make it as easy as possible to allow people to give you money. When you make it easy for people to give you money, they will give you money. When you make it difficult, there's friction in that process. It's not clear what they're buying. There's lots of different data points that we can dive into, but you just need to make it as easy as possible. Your competition isn't just people in your industry. Your competition is these giant tech companies that create flawless checkout experiences, and that's what we're bringing to small businesses as well.
So for the HubSpot users listening to this will sound really familiar. This past inbound conference was virtual, but last year, the last time we met in person, 25,000 people in Boston, one of the major themes of the conference was how people buy is the reason why they buy from you. So it's the buying experience that is the reason, one of the main reasons why they choose you and will continue to choose you. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yes, absolutely. And specifically around mobile too. That's just like the last study that was just published was, it's a couple years old now, but over 33% of all e-commerce purchases were done from a mobile device. So a lot of times people will just kind of test or build their checkout process to their desktop and it's fine, but then you go to the mobile device and it's just terrible. And so yes, absolutely 100%. Make it easy for people to give you money. They will buy from you. And any type of friction in that buying process, you are absolutely losing sales.
So can you share your screen and walk us through the experience that people have with Spiffy? And so kind of give us the basics, the bells and whistles, and then talk about the HubSpot integration.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to cover some broad strokes things that will apply to most businesses. Obviously, there's lots of nuances that we can get into each of your own personal businesses. We do offer a live demo where you can talk directly with me or somebody on our team. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, schedule a demo. We can have a direct conversation. I won't be able to cover everything in our time today, but as we've been talking about, we've designed Spiffy to be that conversion optimized checkout process for your business. Now, there's one big thing to note is that we are not a shopping cart. We are not an online store. We're not a traditional e-commerce tool. We're a single page checkout tool. So if you're running an e-commerce business, Spiffy is a great addition to your existing marketing stack. So if you're using Shopify, Spiffy could be a great tool to supplement that by running offers to dedicated running promotions to dedicated offers.
It's more of a funnel play than it is a online store.
Exactly. What Shopify is to traditional e-commerce and online stores, Spiffy is to single page checkouts. And there's lots of benefits to single page checkouts when it comes to conversions, because it's a fixed offer. It's kind of like a take it or leave it offer. And you can tailor the messaging for that offer all the way through the funnel. So from the sales page to the checkout page, you can reestablish the value of the offer because you know exactly what they're buying, because it's a more or less a static offer. Obviously, you could do an upsell and add some other elements to increase the average order value, but more or less it's a dedicated offer. You can add specific testimonials to the checkout page and things like that. So jumping ahead a little bit, this is what a Spiffy checkout page looks like. So this is where you can customize content, customize testimonials. Going down the right-hand side, do things like checkbox offer bumps on the checkout page, payment plans. You can have options that have price modifiers where you can, essentially upsell them to, in this scenario, this is a online course with a live event ticket, so they can, increase their seating level, and it impacts the price. And you can also choose whether or not that price modifier is included in the payment plan. So I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. This is just kind of flex a little bit of what's possible with Spiffy. But this is, something that other tools, like, it's just not possible to do with other tools. So jumping into our app a little bit here, we do process payments through Stripe and PayPal. Stripe is super awesome. It's definitely the gold standard these days, especially when it comes to international payments, SCA, 3D Secure, policies and things like that. Everything is supported there. And Stripe has some really cool capabilities when it comes to automatically recognizing when your customer's credit card information expires, but the card number stays the same. Stripe will actually update their expiration date on their card automatically. So a lot of times people like, I don't want to use Stripe. I got a really good rate with my merchant processor. You have to look at the holistic cost of using that tool with all the extra fees and everything like that. We also have a good relationship with Stripe as well. So if you have any questions about that, reach out to us and we can make a personal introduction if that is something that you want to have a conversation about. Integrations. So our integrations layer, this is where you would connect HubSpot. You just have a simple OAuth process to connect your HubSpot account. Pretty simple going through this process, and our account's connected. So now once HubSpot's connected at the account level, sales data and customer data is automatically customer information is automatically going to be sent over to HubSpot, and you can choose whether it creates a deal or a ticket or starts a workflow. So there's lots of flexibility that you can do on each individual checkout. But by default, when you connect HubSpot, it's automatically going to send the customer information over to HubSpot for every single checkout that you create. So we have a simple 5-step process. One of the biggest frustrations that we had with a lot of other tools was like, we were obviously a marketing company, consulting firm, and there were so many times where we had a hot lead on the phone, ready to sign up, ready to give us money, and we had to hang up the phone. Well, first off, tell them, hey, sorry, great, we're going to send you a link to pay in the next 20 minutes, hang up the phone, scramble to get a checkout page up so that they could simply pay us. We're hopping into 3 different systems, creating products over here in this system, creating products over here in this system, creating a checkout page, integrating them, making sure it all works. It was just a complete mess. And it's like, why is this so hard to just spin up a quick checkout page? So we have a simple 5-step process that you can get a basic checkout page up, and everything is ready to take payment right after that. So this first step is just the internal name of the form. Only you see this within your account. So you can put things in here that you may not want a customer to see, like full price or something that's a descriptor for you, but not necessarily for the customer to see. You can clean up the URL. You can also embed Spiffy checkouts right into your own website, right into HubSpot's landing page builder, right into their website builder. So you can actually get this checkout on your own domain name or embedded right into a page on HubSpot's site.
That's really attractive.
Yeah, it's really cool. You get to choose whether you're setting up a standard or a subscription payment or a checkout. And then you enter the details of the offer. It's like an online course type thing. This is what's actually going to show up as the main offer on the checkout. You can edit all this stuff after the fact. This is just a quick, kind of guided process to get a basic checkout page up. This last step is optional. It's a product image for the checkout. If you're just taking payment over the phone, it doesn't matter what the checkout looks like. So that was one of our biggest frustrations, is all these tools were having us step over branding settings and affiliate settings and shipping settings every single time you were creating a checkout. And we didn't you don't need that every single time. So we just require the base information, get a basic checkout page up, and you're off to the races. So this this checkout page right here is integrated with HubSpot. So all the contact information is going to go over to HubSpot. And we could take payment for this right over the phone, right when we had a customer on the phone. We have tons of micro optimizations to the checkout. So just to show you a couple examples, if I mistype my email in here, we actually like kind of call a little bit of attention to it and just click and autocorrect your, a mistyped email. The address field is integrated with Google. So as you start typing in your address, nearby addresses start to populate, click and autofill. You can also remove the billing information and have a very simple checkout page as well. Again, I kind of showed you what was possible before building out a checkout page like this. All of this is done in our editor. So I will hop in there really quickly. We could spend like a whole hour just in our editor. There's so many features in here, but you just basically click on edit checkout. And now you have a visual editor where you can add custom fields, a variety of custom fields, text input box. This is where you can add options and payment plans and subscriptions. You can add a whole different section if you wanted to add a whole block of custom fields with the title, so there's endless possibilities about what you can do in here. And again, if you guys have specific questions about how to use this for your business or whatnot, absolutely just schedule a demo with through our website, and you'll speak directly with me or somebody on our team, and more happy to answer any questions, because this is a very powerful, flexible tool that can do a lot of really cool things. And I'm not even going to be able to do it justice today.
It's still simple though. Like I'm following this. You're clicking pretty quick. You're talking pretty quick, but I'm following exactly what you're doing, and it's a very simple user experience. I gotta just let everybody know who's watching this right now. I don't, as a longtime member of the HubSpot community, I'm bringing this interview to you because I think it's a really great tool. And there's a big gap in the HubSpot world when it comes to taking payments. I don't have a horse in this game. I don't have any part of this company. I am not being forced or paid to say this. I don't know if that even exists, but it's incredibly powerful, but easy to configure and easy to follow.
Yes. And so just as you were talking there, we just kind of set up these options. So you could have, 3 options, 5 options, 2 options. You can select one by default. Lots of really cool things here. So when you make it really easy to add a one-click upsell, you can edit all your upsell content in here. As I showed you before, we make it easy to add a checkbox offer bump as well. If you're not implementing any type of upsell offers in your checkout experience, is an absolute must. Like we've seen on average a 17 to 27% increase in revenue just by adding an offer bump or an upsell. And if you don't have a product to upsell, just upsell like a power hour consulting call for $197 or just something, just get an offer in front of people. That's the number one reason why people don't make money online is they don't get enough, they don't get an offer in front of enough people. So,
And for those of you who are not in this world, the way that this works and the power of it, of the order bump, lets you, let's say, advertise something. Let's say it's a $40 kit that you're selling online, something attractive to get them to click and get them to buy. It could be a $7 ebook. It could be a $27 kit that you're selling, and you're running ads to that. The ad, someone clicks on the ad, they go through the purchase process, and they say, "Oh, you know what? There's a $97 upsell for a one-on-one consulting call or something else," and 25% of the people take that order bump. That just raised your average cart value significantly from that $27 initial purchase. Some people will still purchase that price, but other people will do that. And what you want to do is measure that average cart value. So let's say it brings the average cart value up to $50. That means you're not going to keep the lights on with that $50, but what it means is you just acquired a lead and got paid $50 to do it, which means you can spend up to $50 to acquire that lead, to acquire that buyer, and it's called a self-liquidating offer. So that means you are getting leads for free. Did I get that
Yep.
right, Michael?
Totally. And especially if you're running paid ads, you want to, again, you want to be tasteful with your checkout experience. You don't want to have, 15 of these on your checkout. I mean, unless you have some sort of business model where that type of thing makes sense. Where like you literally do have a ton of options, and maybe you have a sales team that's handling the checkout page and taking the payment over the phone. Like there's different scenarios where you do want to have a bunch of options on the checkout. But if you're sending general traffic to an offer, you want it to be very, very, very simple. You don't want to have them making a whole bunch of decisions on the checkout page. Even this checkout page I'm showing you right now might be like the maximum that you would want to go as far as decisions that they have to make. This was just kind of meant to show you what's possible. But even this, like they're having to make lots of decisions. You want to make it easy for them to buy and easy for them to add something that will help them, that's synergistic with what they're already buying. So just to give you some tips on upsells, this is something that we implemented and got crazy results for upsells. Typically, it's not for an offer bump, but it could work for an offer bump as well. Typically for multiple one-click upsells is based on what they purchased. What is an offer that can help them get the result? So you have a product that you're selling. It's promising a result. The upsell is something that helps them get that result faster. So it's like an expediter or an accelerator. It's one-on-one coaching, one-on-one consulting, something that, another course that's more advanced, something that helps them get the result faster from the product that you already sold them, what result that product guarantees or is designed to achieve. So upsell 1, how do I get that result faster? Upsell 2 is like a complementary product that also helps them kind of at that next level, an advanced product, a complementary topic that is easy to relate to, again, getting more results faster. So oftentimes people think that, just throwing some, they have this other course and they just throw it in there and there really isn't a connection, or maybe the connection in your mind, but it's not the direct correlation from what they just purchased isn't communicated effectively. And so that's where we see the performance of upsells drastically differ is just kind of with some of those strategies that I mentioned. So I know that's a little bit more advanced stuff. Again, getting an offer in front of somebody is better than not, but there is some science and strategy into having high performing upsells.
That makes sense. And on the flip side of that, poor performing upsells tend to be more of the same. So let's say you have you're selling somebody a $297 advanced consulting session. What you don't want the upsell to be is a second consulting session, because they've already scratched that itch by purchasing the first one. They already think they're getting the outcome they want. Selling more of the same is going to perform poorly.
Totally. Like even if your upsell is 50% off your second consulting session, everybody's gonna be like, oh, well, even though that's a good deal, I'm gonna see how the first one goes.
Exactly.
So yeah, great point.
Exactly. So can we get into more of the HubSpot integration?
Yes.
And because correct me if I'm wrong, but there's some automation that you can set up without leaving the Spiffy platform, right? Or
correct.
Let's take a look.
Yeah. So really quick, when you hit publish on the checkout page, this is where you get your embed codes. And so this is where you copy paste right into HubSpot to get your checkout page embedded on a HubSpot checkout. When it comes to automations, so again, right now we're talking about editing a specific checkout, building a specific checkout. Under the automations tab, this is where we can add integration actions. So let me go back to the editor. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is where you can add integration actions. So under the purchase, this is for the main offer. We integrated HubSpot at the account level. So now we have all these HubSpot integration actions that when somebody purchases the main offer, I can update the contact email subscription. I can add or remove a contact from a workflow. I can add and remove a contact from a list, add a task, create a deal, create a ticket. When you click on all of these things, it pulls in all of your workflows from HubSpot through the API. And so basically here I can, let's just say this was my customer welcome sequence or customer onboarding, client onboarding process, whatever you've set up in HubSpot for that workflow. When somebody buys, now that workflow is triggered. On this specific checkout, I have an upsell added to the checkout as well. Mm-hmm. So I can have a different workflow or a different task or a different, add them to a different list, whatever, however you have your business structured, you can, again, for the upsell, start a different workflow. So this allows a level of customizability and flexibility to automating that purchase sequence to essentially automate that customer buying experience. Really One thing that we just rolled out today, actually, ironically, this morning is you have the ability to add integration actions, these automation and integration actions, when somebody selects a specific option on the checkout. So maybe it's whether they choose a monthly or an annual subscription or a 1-pay or a 3-pay payment plan, or they, depending on what option they choose here, that's a price modifier, I have access to that same level of automation to trigger based off of what they select in that checkout process. Oh, wow. So, if they select, option 1 from that option list, again, we could start a different workflow, or so there's kind of this combination of understanding what is capable in Spiffy and then also understanding what's capable in HubSpot, and using HubSpot's automation, what they're so good at, in combination with these triggers, in order to accomplish what you're that perfect customer experience in HubSpot. So that's really the level of integrations that's important for single pay checkouts. So if you're not doing payment plans or subscriptions, like that's about all of the integration that you would need to do. But when it comes to payment plans and subscriptions, it's not only important to be able to charge for those things, but it's incredibly important for you to be able to recoup and prevent failed payments. So that's another piece of the equation that people don't think about. They just think about, oh, can I charge for a subscription? Great, I can take payment. But if they're just churning off the back end with no follow-up, if a payment fails and you don't have any insight into the subscription performance, and again, preventing or recouping failed payments, that is a huge piece of the equation too. So at the account level, under our account level integrations, we have billing automation. So based on all these different billing related events, you don't need to set up all of these. These are just triggers that are available to you based off of your specific business. But common ones that everybody should be using are payment failed, card expiring, and card updated. And then depending on whether you're doing payment plans or subscriptions, again, in all of these different scenarios, you have the same ability to start a failed payment workflow, follow-up, where in HubSpot, you would set up the email reminders to follow up with them. Hey, your payment failed. Click here to update your billing information, so on and so forth. When a subscription is canceling, you could prompt a link to your calendar to schedule a call, see if you can save that person. So again, however you want to creatively use these triggers, you have all of this available to you to automate a lot of your payment recovery and failed payment prevention.
That's something a lot of people don't think of, and that's why I wanted to have this conversation. You guys have invested in integrating with HubSpot to the fullest extent that HubSpot allows you to integrate to this point, and I haven't seen anything like it.
Yeah, and again, we just launched our HubSpot marketplace listing within the last month, so we're still having lots of conversations with HubSpot users, always looking to improve. We're really confident in our HubSpot integration right now. But again, there's HubSpot's such an amazing tool. It's so flexible and people are using it so many different ways. We're always looking to make sure that we're as flexible as possible, but also solving real use cases. So if anybody has questions or wants to have a conversation, more than happy to do that as well. One other really important aspect of Spiffy that we were frustrated with a lot of other tools out there is that lots of other systems, they just hold your data hostage. And again, I totally get it. It's a very old school way of thinking when it comes to software, is oh, we're going to own your data so you can never leave us. It's just this is my business. I'm paying you for a software, give me my data. send my data to the other tools that I need to use in my business too. And so that was one of the big frustrations that we had, as when we were an agency, was the fact that like we just couldn't have access to all the sales data. So here in Spiffy, we have all these different sales reports. You have orders, customers, payment plans, subscriptions, etc. And you can export all of your data into a CSV file. So like we don't hold any of your data hostage. Again, here in this view, it's pretty limited. It's just simple, clean, basic. You can add filters, orders created yesterday, right? So again, we didn't have any, this is a staging account. I didn't run any test orders yesterday, but you could get as granular as like, hey, I want to see everybody that bought yesterday and I want to export that into a CSV file, and it exports all of their sales data. Obviously not credit card information. We don't store credit card information, no sensitive data, but all of the sales data that you want, like the order value, the date, address, email, whatever information you're collecting, it exports that information so that you can, get other analytics that, we might not offer built in yet. So that was a big thing for us, is just giving you access to your data. It's your business. We are a tool to help you run your business, and you should have access to your data.
Do you, just with the HubSpot integration, does all of I know the customer data goes back to HubSpot, but the purchase data, so you can create a deal or create a transaction in Hub, so your reporting matches.
Yes. So under automations, this is where, and this is honestly one area that that we were looking for a lot of feedback on, just because every single business uses deals differently, and since that's really the way to get sales information into HubSpot, there's lots of people that are using deals to get like subscription, subscription numbers into HubSpot, when that's really not like the best way of doing that. Like deals weren't really built for subscription businesses. They're kind of built for sales teams. So again, this is an area where we are looking to get more information about how people are using it. But if you did want to send sales data over to HubSpot for each specific checkout, you would set up that create deal. One of the reasons why we did it this way, so that it's something you actively have to set up, is because we know a lot of HubSpot users currently have a lot of automations based off of deals, right? And so we didn't want you to create a checkout and essentially have that checkout item tied to a specific deal and trigger all these automations that you either didn't know were set up or set up behind the scenes, and just create a big mess. So everybody uses HubSpot differently. So we're having to work this balance between making it as easy to use as possible, as flexible, as powerful, and also getting the end result that you want. So that's how you get sales information into HubSpot, is setting up those deal automations on each checkout.
Great.
Yeah. Right. So I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. I'm talking fast. Just excited about what we're doing here.
Is there anything, is there any last thing that you want the HubSpot community to know about Spiffy and what's possible?
Yeah, I mean, as I said at the beginning, we're really focused on innovating in the checkout space. For this product specifically, we're about 1.5 years, almost 2 years into development. So we've accomplished a ton in the last 2 years, and we're just getting started. So right now, today, we have features and capabilities and power that no other tool on the market has, and we have even better stuff coming in the future. Everything that we do is based off of cutting edge research. So if you haven't heard of Baymard Institute, baymard.com, they have a ton of free information that's really valuable for e-commerce checkout. Checkout pages are, for whatever reason, are still kind of a new concept. So a lot of this research is based off of Fortune 500 e-commerce stores, but there's still a lot of best practices when it comes to creating an effective checkout experience that still apply to checkout pages as well. And so everything that we do, we're paid subscribers to Baymard. We get access to all of their cutting edge research and industry reports. Our team geeks out over this type of stuff, and we're constantly putting in best practices into the app as far as just e-commerce efficiency, streamlining best practices, user experience best practices. So everything we do is based off of their 54,000 hours of e-commerce research, and we're always looking to improve and make Spiffy better as a tool for you guys. So, whether you're an e-commerce business, whether you are a consultant, coach, you're using the free version of HubSpot all the way up to the enterprise level of HubSpot, we want to be a solution that helps you get paid, helps make it easier for you to take payments and automate more of your business, and just democratize a lot of the Amazon best practices for small business owners.
Well, Michael Hunter, thank you so much for giving us these best practices, as well as how you are bringing them to fruition inside of Spiffy. It's kind of freeing that you're able to you don't have this legacy technology that you're stuck with. You're just like, all right, what is the absolute best user experience? So we will, with this video, we'll include a link to Spiffy and for people to check it out. And Michael's happy to answer any questions in the comments, or you can reach out to him directly.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about conversion optimization and the impact it can have on your business, as I was scrolling down halfway down the page, or I guess towards the bottom of our homepage, there's a section that talks about conversion optimization. There's a quick 5-minute overview just to see if it's a topic that you want to dive deeper on. Click immediate access. It's not gated. You don't need to give us your email or anything like that. And we have a 25-minute presentation where I talk about conversion optimization, the difference between checkout pages and shopping cart. So just leading with free information. Check that out. Schedule a demo with us. Would love to talk with you. And Josh, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you, your audience, and really appreciate the opportunity, giving us the chance to highlight some of the cool things that we're doing with Spiffy today. Thank you, man.
Yep. Michael, thank you. I think the HubSpot community is really going to eat this up.
Cool.
All right. Take care. Thanks for the time.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye.